Now, I'm not going to lie, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time with a lot of these because hopefully you know how by now to add, subtract, and multiply anything. Okay? Anytime you add, subtract, multiply polynomials, you can only combine things that have the same coefficient, the same degree, everything there. Okay? Now, I will tell you, whenever you take the test in about 2 weeks, whenever that is, right before Thanksgiving, okay? The Tuesday before Thanksgiving, is that the very front page, it will go very fast as long as you pay attention to what you're doing, okay? Because there will be problems, there will be addition problems, there will be subtraction problems, there will be multiplication problems. Now, like I think I told you all or I told people before, there will be somebody that will mess this up. Okay, because they will get in too big of a hurry and they will just try to multiply everything. Pay attention to a sign. Okay, like if we just go down here to adding, pay attention to what you're supposed to be doing. I'll give you a hint. If there's an extra space between the parentheses and there's a little sign, one that looks like a little cross or like an X that we stood up on one leg, okay, that's a plus sign. You look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm just telling you, it's going to happen. Okay? You're laughing now, but there's 60 of you, and I will bet money that there will be one person, at least, that will get in too big of a hurry, and they'll just be like, 3x to the third times x to the third. And they're like, why is this test taking me so long? Because you didn't pay attention to the flipping sign that's right in the middle. Okay? I will have somebody come up to me and go, hey, I didn't get done. Well, no kidding, because you tried to multiply whenever all you had to do was add. Or they'll come and be like, I got something really big, and I'll look at them and I go, what sign is that? And they're going to go, oh, God, why did I do that? I don't know. I told you were going to do it. Told you. Okay? And I'll tell you again tomorrow. And I'll tell you again the next day. Because, again, I will bet money, all the money that I've got in that bag, that somebody will do it. If somebody wants to take me up on it, or I'll bet you a soda from Quick Trip. And I'll take as many bets as possible. There's 60 of you. I can handle $60 at Quick Trip and just getting tea after tea or Fanta after Fanta, whatever. Okay? Whatever you're going to drink. Okay? But it has to come from the fountain. If you want to take that bet, I'll take it. And I'm talking to everybody. So that, not just you, not be like, man, Laws, I got it. No. You gotta get it for the one beside you, one behind you, and somebody in 6th hour. Okay? So pay attention to the sign because they're all going to look very similar, but one's going to have a plus, one's going to have a minus, and then there's going to have one that's not going to have anything. Those are the ones you want to multiply, not the one that you want to have the plus sign. Okay? So whenever you add the ones that go together. Add the x to the thirds plus the x to the third. So if I have 3x to the third plus x to the third, how many x to the thirds do I have? 4x to the third. Same way, if I do it and I look at the x squareds, and I have another x squared, and I have 2x squared plus a negative 10x squared. That's really just like 2 minus 10. What's 2 minus 10? Negative 8x squared. I'm going to do the same thing then with the x's. I'm going to look in the first one. I have a negative x. What's the problem here? I don't have an x in the second one. So what do? What's negative x plus 0? Just negative x. Then I'm out of x's. All I have are constant numbers. I just have regular numbers. It's like I'm back in the first grade. I'm going to go negative 7 plus 8. Okay, I'm going to look right here with the green one, negative 7 plus 8, and I'm going to get a positive 1. Once I get there, I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I am not going to combine all these x's. I'm not going to have 4 minus 8 minus 1 plus 1. Okay? I can only combine the x to the thirds with the x to the thirds. I can only combine the x squares with the x squareds. I can't put a 4x to the third minus an 8x squared minus a 1x minus a, or plus a 1 and get one single value. Okay, I have to leave it as it is. Do not combine anything if it has a different power. But remember, you know that because you know that it's going to be a plus. You know you're going to add. Okay, because it has that plus sign or that addition sign in the middle. You're not going to multiply that. That's what you just told me. Especially whenever you all laughed at me. Now, subtraction's a little different. Okay, here's what I would, you can do anything with subtraction, you can do it, really, it's up to you. Okay, I will have some students that will want to what I call stack it. You will have some students that will just do it horizontally. Okay, and just leave it going in one direction, and that is fine. The biggest thing with subtraction is that that subtraction sign has to hit every single value. So if you're going to write it in one big long line, just like we did addition, then I have to have, I'm not going to rewrite, I'm just going to rewrite the first one. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to have 2x to the third plus 6x squared minus x plus 1. Now, flip every single sign. So whenever I flip every single sign behind that negative, or behind that subtraction, I'm going to have minus 8x to the third. I'm going to have plus 3x squared. I'm going to have plus 2x. And then I'm going to have minus 9. Change every sign. Again, there will be somebody that will make a silly mistake and they will only change the sign in front of the 8x to the third. Don't be that person. Okay, change every sign. That's why we put everything in that parenthesis. Okay, we put everything in that parenthesis so you know that that sign goes to everything inside of it. So then it just becomes like a regular addition problem. All I'm going to do, I'm going to take my x to the thirds. I have a 2x to the third. I have a negative 8x to the third. So 2 minus 8, negative 6, x to the third. I'm going to do the same thing with my x squareds. Now I have a positive 6x squared plus a 3x squared. So 3 plus 6 is going to give me 9x squared. Do the same thing again, but now I'm going to deal with my x's. So negative 1x plus 2x is just going to give me a positive 1x. If you just want to write it as x, that's fine. If you want to put it as 1x, that's fine too. I don't care. Then, only two things left are my constants. 1 minus 9, so negative 8. And I am finished. Okay, again, do not try to take negative 6 plus 9 plus 1 minus 8. Don't do it. Just leave it as is. Keep your x to the thirds as their own. Keep the x squareds as their own. Keep the x's as their own. Keep the constant as its own. Do not try to put everything together. Okay? Do not try to make this thing, 4x to the 5th or 6th minus 8, because you just put all the x's together and all the numbers together and go from there. Don't do it. Some of you think I'm crazy. I might be. Now, the multiplying side, it's completely up to you on how you do it. There are really about 3 different ways that I can show you to multiply. Okay? One way is just basically to just draw the lines and what I call FOIL, or some people call it double distributing or whatever. It's really, there's a lot of different ways that we can multiply. Okay? I don't know how you were taught before. Okay? There may be some of you, just from knowing what I know, that I've had some people that would put things in a box like this and go negative x squared, go positive 2x, and go positive 4. I've seen this before where they go x and then negative 3. And then just basically look at like, what was it, Punnett square, whenever you were in science class, right? And just basically take the top and multiply it by the side. So negative x squared times x would just give me negative x to the third. Do 2x times x and they would get a positive 2x squared. 4 times x and give me a 4x. Okay? This is just one of those ways that I've seen students do it, that they can kind of keep everything together and then do the same thing, but do the bottom row in each column. So negative times a negative is going to give me a positive 3x squared. A negative 3 times a positive 2x is going to give me a negative 6x. And then a negative 3 times a positive 4 is going to give me a negative 12. Okay? Then it becomes fairly simple of just combining, combining like terms. Combining the x squareds, combining the x's, and then just rewriting everything out to where we get negative x to the third plus 5x squared minus 2x minus 12. It's completely up to you how you multiply. Okay? It really is. I will have some students that will take the y and multiply it with everything inside there and draw the lines. Okay? And they'll make it y times 3y squared. And they'll get 3y to the third. They'll multiply y times negative 2y and they'll get negative 2y squared. They'll multiply y times a 2 and they'll get a positive 2y. And then they'll just do it all over again, but now they're going to use the 5 and they're going to draw those same lines and they're going to get a 15y squared. They're going to get a negative 10y and then a positive 10. And then they're going to combine like terms. Okay? They don't have any y to the third, so they're just going to drop it straight down, and they're going to have 3y to the third. They're going to look at the y squareds. They're going to have a negative 2 and a positive 15, and they're going to say, well, that's a positive 13y squared, and they're going to be right. They're going to do the same thing again with the y values, and they're going to have a negative or a positive 2 and a negative 10, and they're going to say negative 8y. And then they're going to look at it and say, well, there's nothing left but a 10, so I'm just going to write the plus 10 and just tack it on the end. And then they're going to circle it, or they're going to put a box around it, and they're going to move on. It's completely up to you how you multiply. Okay? Because there are really about 4 or 5 different ways that you can go about it. The one thing I will tell you is if you have 3 of them, like we have down at the bottom, where we have x minus 1, x plus 4, and 3x plus 5, is do 2 at a time and then put it together. Okay? It does not matter to me how you do it. Okay? It doesn't matter to me if you want to multiply these 2 first, if you want to multiply those 2 first, okay? Or if you just want to multiply the 2 on the end first. It's completely up to you. Just do 2 at a time and then save that last part together. Okay? For me, okay, just because I'm kind of a little bit OCD as far as how I do everything, I always do the back 2 because then I worry about the front one. Okay? So I just rewrite the x minus 1 out in front, and then I just FOIL the back 2. I'm going to get 3x squared plus 5x plus 12x plus 20. I'm going to rewrite, I'm going to combine basically, I'm going to combine here, or simplify it. So I'm going to have x minus 1 still, and then I'm just going to combine like terms and have 3x squared plus 17x and plus 20. And then go that route and this route here. Again, it's completely up to you how you do it. It does not matter to me. Okay? Just make sure if you have more than two polynomials that you have to multiply together, then do 2 at a time and then bring along your third one. So I'm still going to get 3x to the third plus 17x squared plus 20x minus 3x squared minus 17x minus 20. So my final answer should give me 3x to the third plus 14x squared plus 3x and minus 20. You may have done it different than me. You may have done it the same way. But as long as we get the right answer, it doesn't matter to me as far as how you do it. Okay, especially with the multiplying. But make sure you pay attention to the adding and the subtracting. Okay, because that's where you're going to make a silly mistake that doesn't need to be made. And you're going to have to buy me a tea.